Welcome back. I'm Lana Ray with Later in Life Network, and today we're still on the dating topic, whether it's online or in person. You just met somebody somewhere, um, and you're thinking about whether you want to date them or not. And one of the things that I want to talk about in this video is labeling. Labeling men or men labeling women. um, there are so many dating coaches, dating consultants, and just the whole realm of relationships on YouTube and Rumble and everywhere, all the social media. And it's kind of concerning me that we're really starting to take each person and throw them into a category. Like, yeah, he's a narcissist or she's a narcissist, or it's like we've labeled their whole person as that. That bothers me. I'm not saying these things are not important, and I'm not saying that they don't have characteristics that are bad. Again, all these people are people. I mean, God's created these people and they're making choices, decisions, because they've all got free will, and they're becoming either good people or not so good people. This is what we need to be looking for. And this is why it's important to know the Father, to know who Jesus is, to have that relationship with Him and Holy Spirit so that we can be guided and we can have discerning gift. We can have where we can feel that there's a different spirit going on with this man. These are the things that are important for us to know and to understand, not labeling just a flat out the whole person's just nothing but trash. I mean, I everyone has an opportunity for change and for making a difference. And and of course, we're looking for someone who's going to fit the values and our visions and our mission and in life. And like I talked about in my last video with visionality and um, and just how God's got a book about our life that He's had since we were in the womb. Everyone has this. Every man that you talk to on a dating app, on the phone, in person, they're all very important to God. The reason also that I'm wanting to point this out is there's a lot of I've listened to a lot of dating coaches and consultants along the way on YouTube, and there's a lot of good information. There's a lot of good stuff to make sure you think about. But it's almost like they want you to find this really perfect, well-rounded man. Like like you're going to be all of the values that you want, everything that you're wanting. You need to make sure they kind of have all of that already, and that they're um and they'll say things like, don't date for potential. Don't date a guy that has a potential of being wonderful or financially set, or you know later in life, especially. You want to make sure they've got money, a place to live, all these things. And really, I can get why people say that, and and I understand, but how much is enough on any one of those things? How much, and are you what about the guy? What about the guys, like, who they are? Like, what's their are they believers? I mean, do you line up like that? But here's the thing that can happen in all of our lives, because I'm sitting here thinking, if I was going to a dating coach, they'd probably look at me and say, there's no man that's going to want you. There's no man that's going to want you. You are, you don't have a huge retirement. Um, you can't live on Social Security, so you're having to work and you're, right at 67 years old, just a few more days. Who thought it would get here that quick? So you have to work at something to make ends meet, and, uh, and I'm thinking, really? I don't like that. I don't want to be treated that way because it's not about my potential. I mean, it's not about my financial status. It's about what I feel is important to me. And do I feel like we all should be working at something? Yes, I don't think you should ever retire. I don't think anybody should retire and do nothing at age 60, 62, 65. You had better be doing strength training. You better be doing some walking. You better be doing some mental activity. You better be eating right. You better find out first what even eating right really is, because we've got a society where there's so much junk in our food, and our food has been grown so badly. I mean, we're all hearing about it. We're having to get down to, grass-fed beef and try to find it without any problems in the meat, and eat eggs, and you got to make sure those are good chickens, and we've got issues, and we're trying to figure those things out along the way while we're dating some guy, because we want to have a relationship, and we don't, we want to be able to do things together with someone, for the rest of our lives, and have companionship and all the thing, laugh and have fun, and enjoy life to the fullest, because I mean, Jesus also said that. I want you to enjoy life to the fullest. Well, anyway, the whole labeling thing bothers me, and the retirement sitting around doing nothing does nothing but cause you to end your life at some point sooner than what you probably would have, because it just gives you no purpose or mission for your life. Now, I mean, if you're retiring from a job that you hated it, or and now you're moving into something that keeps your mind going, maybe you start a business, maybe you work at something where you're really around people. I do spark driving and I love it. Do I want to do it forever? No. No, I don't want to do it forever. But it's came into my life at a really good point. I've done it for over a year. It's helped me get kind of back kind of out there. It's I get lots of exercise. I've had to actually try to eat more because it's like it was a lot to do shopping, and I'm kind of a fast-paced person, so I burn a lot of calories. So um, I've had to make some adjustments on exercise and nutrition and eating more carbs, and how much protein do I really need. So I do want to bring up one big thing that needs to happen first. And that is, you as a woman, you need to determine at this point in your life what's important for you. And and do you know yourself? Do you know what you want in a man, and do you know who you are? What is your what are you wanting to do with your life? I don't think you should just be wanting security so that you can do nothing, or wanting security financially so that you can not learn anything. See, this is the mistake I made. This is the mistake I made. I didn't want to learn anything. I worked with my dad till I was 17 out in the garage handing him tools to fix cars and trucks, and he would talk about the engine, he would talk about stuff, and he would say, "Now, sis, you need to, learn how to change the oil in your car, let me show you how." And I didn't want nothing to do with it. No, just do it for me. Just do it for me. I don't need to know. In my mind, I didn't think I needed to know that. I'm a girl. I, I didn't know anything. And I mean, he took care of my car even through my first marriage. I mean, you know, my first husband did things. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't, he did stuff with the car and stuff. But if we had problems that we didn't know, if he didn't know what to do with something, then, we'd call my dad and he would help, or, you know, just different things. But I lived my life like that. And the second husband was a mechanic. So he took care of everything too, and he would say things to me. Both of my husbands would say things like, "Well, don't you want to learn how to do this or know how to do that?" No. And it's like, I didn't say it, but it's like you felt, well, that's what I got you for. That's just bad. But this is the stuff that goes on in our mind. I might as well say it. God knows I thought it. And it's not like that was the only thing, reason. I'm not trying to be that senseless, but like now when I look back, I'm kind of like, I had every opportunity. No, now that I'm alone, when I was alone, and I'm still like alone most of the time, I've had all this trouble with my car. So it's like, and I think I talked about this in another video, I know how to look at my reservoir coolant. I can put coolant in it. I know how to do that without blowing up myself with taking the cap off. I know what it ought to look like. Um, I've got a new radiator in my car now, which was probably the ultimate problem for the last 6 to 9 months, while somebody kept replacing other stuff, hoses and cracks and pipes, and I don't know. It was so frustrating. Lots of money. And see, that just creates the panic when you're alone. If you don't know what to do with your car, you don't know where to take it, you don't know who's going to be honest with you about what it needs. It's horrible. It causes anxiety, panic, my hair to fall out. I don't like it. So my current relationship guy said, "Guess what? You need to know some stuff. You need to know how this thing works. You need to know what the radiator does. I mean, you need to know how to do some things, how to check your oil, how to check different things." So I've been in the process of that. Aren't you proud of me? You need to do the same thing. I just would highly recommend, I don't mean to be bossy, but you don't want you don't want the need for security, the need for someone to take care of everything for you. If you're one of those ladies that maybe grew up and your dad kind of pampered you and gave you, took care of everything, and you just transitioned from him to a husband that took care of everything, transitioned into, I mean, I mean, maybe some of you, your children take care of stuff for you. You know, I'm telling you, when you learn some of these things, one of the biggest things I felt when I'm learning how to even unhook and lift my hood up on my car, I didn't even know how to do that. I was that blonde. Well, I kind of still am in a lot of ways, but when you can actually look at it and say, oh, it looks good. I see that. I see the pink stuff right there in the coolant thing. I may not call everything the right name, but I know what it is and what it should look like. You get a sense of empowerment because you think, okay, and I know how to call a towing truck, and I know how to, I mean, there's just things that when you learn it, you need to learn things. And this is what will keep you from being, um, what's the word? This is what will keep you from being tempted to settle for a man that you shouldn't be settling for, because they have attributes. They 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 your mind goes, oh, he knows this would be this I wouldn't have to worry about taking care of this part of my life. If he's got lots of money, if he knows people that can take care of the car, or if he could, all of these things, we start looking at security, ladies. I'm just trying to be transparent here. If you get some of these things in the relationship, wonderful. But I'm saying it would be to your benefit to know and to have your own, work on your own business. You make some money, you have ambition, you get some umph to you later in life. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. Do you believe it or not? Well, you know, I'm saying let's go for something. Let's not think it's over. I'm telling you, you can be around a lot of people that's older than you, that's the same age as you, and even a little younger than you, that have a horrible view of life. Like, you should just get ready for the nursing home. You're 50 or 60, and well, it's just going to go downhill from here. You might as well just, you're going to, get ready for the hospital, get ready for, you're going to hurt all over. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why have I done that? Let's not do this. Let's not do that. Let's not say those words. That's not even biblical to talk that way as a believer. It's not biblical. People goes, well, it's a reality. No, it's not. It's not the reality. Now, if you've got things going on, I suggest you research it. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of natural things that God put in place in the earth, different herbs and different, things that are actually, they're so much better for us. They work. And I'm telling you, exercise, strength training. If you're going to spend money on something, go get a really good trainer, coach that understands muscles, strength, fascia. Get them to know, we waste a lot of money on stuff that we really don't even need to be spending our money on. I'm just saying. You need to reevaluate this and research more natural things, because drinking good water is a big deal, and eating good meat, good eggs, nutrition. You don't have to eat a lot. You don't have to eat a lot. We are choosing to do that. And I have my moments that I want, ice cream and chocolate. But, there's actually good chocolate. So, man, I got off. Security is a big issue for women. It can be a big issue for men, I would assume. I mean, there are some men that are going after rich women. So if you do have some money, ladies, um, you got to be aware of the love bombing. We can get sucked into that. There are things that if you don't know yourself in reality and the truth of who you are and what the downsides to what you think about, and this whole settling thing. The settling thing, in my opinion, is two things. You either don't know yourself well enough, you're not being honest with yourself, you're not really seeing why you settled in the past, what that was, or you're agreeing under protest to yourself, to what you really want. You're agreeing under protest. So, because if you're going into a relationship and in your mind you're saying, well, he's got like four of these things that are really good, but this one area is really kind of, I don't know, can I put up with that? Is that something that well, maybe I can, all the rest of these things, would that make my life okay to where I could handle this one area? Because he's obviously going to keep doing that, or he's going to be that, whatever that thing is. You are agreeing under protest. You are protesting that. In that conversation, you are saying, I don't like it. I don't like it. But I like all these other things about him. This is intentional settling. And I've done it, and a bunch of us out there, you've probably done it. We've done it. We don't want to do it anymore, is what I'm saying. Let's not do that anymore. Let's not. You know, they can't be that good looking. I don't know. Whatever it is for you. Or, maybe they're that wealthy and you think, but later in life, let's not do these mistakes again. Let's not go any further in this relationship. You may cry for a week, you might be that into him at this point. Sometimes you don't see the bad stuff for a few weeks. When I say bad, I'm just saying you may not see the problems with the values and the compatibility for a while. I mean, men and women both can kind of be on the good side, show all the good stuff for sometimes the endurance can be a few months before you start seeing things that happen, things that get said, comments that are made. You know, they go through the store and you see them stealing something. That's a that's an eye opener. Yes, I had that happen. Um, but normally there's been other red flags, and you're kind of accumulating the red flags, and at some point you'll put it all together and you'll say, no, I can't, I'm not dealing with this at 60 whatever age. I'm not doing this. No, I'm not doing this. He's not that, it's not that he's not important, because he is. But I tried to be really transparent with that person and say, you've got some issues here. You've got some issues here and you need to deal with those. And I can't be in this with you. You've got to go and decide, because you have free will and you can choose not to change, and you can choose to disagree with me, and you can choose to think that you're fine doing what you want to do and getting away with things you want to get away with. But I won't be able to trust you. See, this is a trust issue. If it comes to not trusting them around women, things, money, if they're going to flirt with other women right in front of you, what are they going to do when you're not around? If they're going to, there's issues here that you've got to bring out and you got to talk to them about it. Now, a lot of these things are insecurities, and we've all got them. I mean, hardly anybody's ever perfect when it comes to that, but we had better take insecurities serious, because I've struggled with insecurity a lot. But this is why you have to know yourself, and you have to have your own purpose and vision, because at any given moment, you might be alone again. I'm telling you, you can't just assume that later in life you're going to find the one and live happily ever after like the Harlequin romance that's a big bunch of hoo-ha. It's not real. It doesn't happen. If you're happy and you've met somebody, wonderful. But this is not like something that you can do. I can guarantee you, you're not like, there's things that are popping up every once in a while that are not right, that you don't agree with. You are not like never having a bad moment, even with the one that you're with. You're going to have disagreements. You're going to have things that you got to work through. It's called a relationship, and you got to communicate, and things can happen. There's no guarantee on happily ever after, but I am choosing that. I'm choosing to be transparent with someone, and to work with them on a good life. and a real life and an honest life. And I'm going to work on that until something happens to where one of us is gone, or I don't know, but I hope I'm learning enough to where, and I believe that God is the one that's really taking care of me. You know, you kind of have to get to that. And a lot of us have known this for a long time. I mean, I've taught on all of this for years, and yet I came to a point in my life where I was like lost. I couldn't feel God close. I don't hear him talk. I've got all these problems. Everything was overwhelming. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Fear. I can't sleep. My hair's falling out. I'm getting older this year. I don't want to talk to any of my friends because I can't deal with it. I can't deal with their stuff. I can't deal listening to what they think about me. I can't deal right now with it. I isolate myself from just maybe one or two people. High anxiety. Your mind just goes nuts. Okay, this is this is where you're hitting the rock bottom. This is where we're going with the whole thing of hitting rock bottom. I don't really have anybody that can fix this stuff for me in the physical. I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. If my car isn't running, I can't work. If I can't work, I can't pay all my bills because I am not touching my retirement money at this point. I, you know, I I have to figure out how to make it on my own at this age, at this later in life age. So anyway, you don't want to settle for different values. You want to compromise in areas where you can, because that's relationship talk, is compromising. um, None of this stuff is a deal breaker. If you've got a deal breaker, you need to know what that is for you. If you don't want to marry somebody who's not a believer, you've got to get to know him well enough in that area to where is he lying about it or not? It doesn't mean he's perfect. It doesn't mean he's always talking to God and he's some real religious freak. That doesn't impress me at all. I want to know, is he seeking Holy Spirit? Is he exhibiting the gifts of the Spirit and the fruit? The fruit. Does his actions match what he's saying? Does he feel bad when he does something that hurts you? Does he feel bad? Does he tell you he's sorry? Or is he just blowing it off as no big? These are the things that you got to know if that's an important part of what you want in a man, that he's a believer. Here you've got, and are you really a believer? You don't fake it till you make it. I mean, we you got to know yourself. You got to know if this is really, do you have a relationship with Holy Spirit? It's a big It's a big area. And it may be that that's not an issue. You're both believers, but now you've got other situations. Is he trustworthy? Can you trust him around women? Well, you better get him out there in front of some while you're dating. You better get him out in front of your family at some point. You better get him out in front of women. Get him around some cute women, some cute friends, whatever. You've got to risk this. If you've got a problem with insecurity and you're jealous, and I was like that, like most of my life, I had trouble with that because I never felt, I mean, I just think we just can be so insecure, and I'm not sure why. I think a lot of things do happen in our childhood and while we're growing up and we're in school, and how kids treat us and how other people treat us, and just the thoughts that we just start thinking that are wrong, that the enemy just puts in here and we just buy right into it. All these things, whatever. I mean, but at some point you've got to, this is why you have to get to the point when you're dating. You've got to get to the point where you're going to be okay. You can be okay if this man leaves and you never see him again after you already are in a relationship with him. You have to be okay. I mean, you'll go through a process, but you have to know deep down that I'll be okay. And obviously, this may not be the one that God wants for me. He's going to bring someone that's going to be even better and more compatible and more of what I want and more of what I need and want, and to end my life well with. You have to believe this. And if you don't, you got to do some more soul searching. And you may not have hit rock bottom enough, because I think the rock bottom event, at least the one I had, it built that in me. It built the confidence back in me to know that I can be okay. I can be okay on my own, and God will help me build, keep building a life, keep building. You've got to know that, because you can't stay with somebody because you feel like, once again, here you're settling in, you're depending on them to take care of you. And that is a different mindset than wanting to build a relationship with someone and you kind of take care of each other. You share life together, so you do help each other. I like taking care of someone. Taking care may mean different things to us. It's not like you're just doing stuff for them all the time, but I like cooking for someone. I mean, I like it when they take me out to eat, but I mean, I enjoy washing. I like laundry. I like washing clothes. I like folding them. I feel like I like being the helpmate. I gravitate toward thinking of things that will make their day better. I just like that. And I feel good in a good relationship. I feel like I'm living my true life as a woman in that role. I like it. I don't feel below him or beneath him or inferior. I don't feel any of that stuff that a bunch of women want to talk about. The word talks about older women, in the Proverbs. And it says older women, help the younger women and help them learn how to love their husbands and their children well. Why would we have to do that? Why would we have to help teach younger women how to love their husband well and their children? You might want to meditate on that for a while. We might want to come back with maybe a little video on that at some point because I think there's some deep stuff in there. The difference between settling and just knowing the togetherness, what goes into being together with someone and building a life together.